In the frozen wastelands of Manchuria, there once stood a place so horrifying that history tried to erase it. A facility where science and cruelty became one. A secret laboratory where men were no longer seen as people, but as mere test subjects. This is the true story of Unit 731, Japan's hidden house of horrors. During World War II, the Japanese military sought new ways to dominate their enemies, not just with weapons, but with disease, pain, and suffering. And so they created a secret research unit, 731. Thousands of prisoners were taken, Chinese civilians, Russian soldiers, and anyone the Empire deemed expendable. But to the scientists, they weren't prisoners. They were simply called Maruta, logs, nothing more than human test samples. Inside the cold, sterile labs, the experiments began. Some were injected with unknown substances, their veins turning black as the sickness consumed them from the inside. Others were exposed to freezing temperatures, their skin turning to ice before their limbs shattered like glass. The doctors took notes, speaking in calm voices, as if they were discussing the weather, while the screams of their subjects echoed through the halls. But Unit 731's goal was not just suffering. It was the creation of the ultimate weapon. The scientists worked tirelessly to turn disease into a tool of war. Planes were sent to release plague-infested fleas over villages. Wells were poisoned, spreading sickness to thousands. Entire communities vanished overnight, leaving only empty homes and silence in their wake. To the outside world, these deaths were unexplainable. But deep inside the facility, the doctors knew exactly why. They watched, they studied, and they prepared for more. In 1945, the war ended. Japan surrendered, but the leaders of Unit 731 knew they had to erase the evidence. Documents were burned, entire buildings were destroyed, and the remaining prisoners were executed. Every single one. The scientists, they disappeared, vanishing like shadows in the night. But the most chilling truth of all, many of these scientists were never punished. Instead, they were given freedom. In exchange for their research, their knowledge was too valuable. And so, the monsters of Unit 731 walked free, their crimes buried beneath classified documents and political deals. Today, the remnants of Unit 731 still stand, abandoned and decayed, a chilling reminder of what once was. The walls of these forgotten buildings have absorbed the echoes of suffering. The rusted operating tables, the shattered glass vials, the decayed documents, all whisper a truth that the world tried to bury. For decades, governments denied its existence. Japan refused to acknowledge the horrors, and those responsible lived normal lives, free from consequence. Families of the victims searched for justice, but the silence was deafening. The truth was inconvenient, a stain on history that no one wanted to touch. But secrets have a way of resurfacing. Survivors, once too afraid to speak, began to tell their stories. Historians uncovered hidden records, piecing together the nightmare that had been erased. And slowly, the world began to remember. Unit 731 may be gone, but its shadow remains. The knowledge gained from these brutal experiments didn't disappear. It was passed on, studied, and, in some cases, used to advance modern biological warfare. Even today, in secret labs and classified programs, research into bioweapons continues. And though the methods may have changed, the ethical lines remain as blurred as they were decades ago. Perhaps the most terrifying question isn't what happened, but what else remains hidden. If Unit 731 could operate in the darkness for so long, what horrors might still be unfolding behind closed doors today? What experiments are being conducted in the name of progress, buried under layers of secrecy and denial? Some nightmares never truly end. They only waited for history to repeat itself. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.